Hello, seekers. Welcome to Punneits Astrology, your one-stop astro channel. Venus is about to move to the sign of Gemini tonight. In fact, late in the night, around 2 a.m. So technically, it's tomorrow. This particular movement of Venus will be out from the sign of Taurus, its own sign, from the grip of Rahu, and Venus finds itself in the domain of Gemini, which is a Mercurian domain. And the position of Gemini is actually good with respect to Venus' own sign, Taurus and Libra. From Taurus, it is second, so it becomes Bhavat Bhavam. The second lord is second from itself, so that again signifies something very important. On the other hand, with respect to Libra, Gemini is definitely in a trine. So because Libra and Gemini are in trine, this becomes a very positive yoga for Venus, and Venus fares well in the sign of Gemini. But exactly what will happen, let's try to figure that out. Before that, do not forget to hit like, subscribe and share, and hit the bell icon so that you never miss another update. You can follow me on social media. The platforms, details and the links are given in the description box below. And if you want to take my consultation, drop me an email. The email ID is also in the description box below. So let's begin with Venus transit in the sign of Gemini. So you can see on the screen on 29th of May around 2 a.m. time, Venus is moving in the sign of Gemini. Venus will make its move in the Mrigshira Nakshatra, and Rahu and Sun are already in the sign of Taurus. So Taurus was getting enough kind of heaviness because of the ecliptic formation between Rahu and Sun. Also remember that the solar eclipse is also going to get formed in the sign of Taurus, which is Venus' own sign. And movement of Venus out of the sign of Taurus is like an escape of Venus from the negativity that is happening in the sign of Taurus. When Venus moves into Mrigshira Nakshatra, initially the mind will be very chaotic. Your thoughts will be all over the place, especially with matters related to love, romance, your affection towards children, relationships will take a hit. So it's more about your internal conflict that reflects in the behavior towards relatives. Also, this can create some sort of frustration, some sort of argumentative confrontation with your near and dear ones. So you have to just keep a sane check. You have to take control on your words, and you have to be very careful with what you speak. Venus, on the other hand, rules the Dhan Bhav, which is the sign of Taurus. So definitely a level of insecurity will increase. And because Venus goes out of its own house when it is finding insecurity in its own house, which also means you will cross the boundary and you will try to find out the peace and the relief outside your own home, outside your territory. You may seek help from friends, you may seek help from a counselor, you may seek help from somebody whom you think that they are your well-wishers. So because of that movement outside the home, sometimes it can be good, but sometimes it's escaping the eventuality, escaping something that should be addressed in the first place. But this is more like Venus trying to escape its own home, going and seeking help in some other territory. This can also be confirmed by the presence of Mercury and Mars while Venus makes its move. When Venus makes its move, Venus is very close to Mercury. So it's like Venus going into the other house, other country, other Rajya, and taking the help of the king of the other Rajya. This is only because its own kingdom is under chaos. The Rahu, which is the Daitya Guru, the Daitya, and Sun, which is the Sur. So it's more like a Sur and Asur. So it's more like a Devasur Sangram happening in the sign of Taurus. And when the Devasur Sangram happens in the sign of Taurus, this Sangram is going to take its peak, and it will show its effect around its peak during the solar eclipse, and then again it will start dying down because Sun, as I said and explained in the Mercury transit what will happen, how Mercury relays the information with respect to Mars and Sun. Do watch my Mercury transit video. I have given in the link in the description box below. That will explain you why Sun will win in this battle. And it's not like a battle where Rahu is going to lose, but it's a battle where momentarily Sun takes a greater control over Rahu, which in fact is good for humanity. On the other hand, if you see when Venus goes out, it's only that Venus tries to escape the reality. But on the other hand, after 10th of June, once the eclipse happens, things will be slightly positive. Things will be uh, not that negative, or not that escapist kind of nature won't be there. Initially, it's first half of the Venus transit is more about I want to save myself, and the second half of the Venus transit is about yes, everything is okay, things are fine now. Mercury is not going to be here for a very long time. Neither do Mars. You see the degree of Mars, it's at 27 degree 25 minutes. So while Venus makes its transit, at least 3 to 4 events happens. The first event is that Mercury becomes retrograde, goes back to Taurus. Second event is Mars goes debilitated in the first week of June. Third event is there is a solar eclipse. Fourth event is that Jupiter goes retrograde while Venus is in the sign of Gemini, and with Jupiter aspecting this Venus. Remember, don't consider this Venus transit just as a standalone transit. Consider what happens when Venus is moving in Gemini. That is very important. What is happening when Venus is walking the sign of Gemini? What is happening in the other sphere of Venus? Because if I take Venus on the ascendant, every other planet will play its role in supporting Venus, especially Jupiter. Now, definitely, Jupiter will become retrograde towards the last couple of days of the Venus transit, but that is also important because that will define how Venus will play its role in the sign of Cancer. And Jupiter is constantly aspecting the sign of Venus. That's one thing. Second thing, that the 7th house from Venus is under Papkartari. Now for Venus, Taurus, which is the natural 2nd house from Venus, and 7th house, which is Libra, or the natural 7th from Venus. So for Venus, 2nd and 7th holds great importance in astrology. So if I have to see the house which is 2nd from Venus and 7th from Venus, see how they are affected. Mars, once it makes its move into the sign of Cancer, Venus itself undergoes Papkartari. Why? Because the day Mars will move in this sign, Rahu will be in this sign and Sun will be on this sign. So see what happens with Venus. It is trapped between the 3 strong masculine planets. So this means that the creative part will be suppressed and the masculine competition will take over your creative part. So what you have to do, you have to go and find a fusion. The fusion of the creativity, the feminine attitude and the masculine attitude. When it fuses, that is when it gives you the right choice, the right aspect, the right perspective towards life. You should not let your Venus get suppressed in Gemini. Venus should communicate its feminine quality in Gemini, but it should be a creative art of war, I will say. It's a creative confrontation. Your confrontation should not be with rude words or with frustration, with anger, with emotion, but it should be more about being more diplomatic, being more creative, being more compassionate. So it's more about, yes, I don't disagree with you, but I also agree with you. That kind of argument where once you are trying to put forward your point of view, but you're also understanding what the other person has to say. Initially, Mars will definitely create a lot of passion towards Venus, because Venus will find the position of Mars. It's like a helpless person finds a policeman and now he feels relieved. So this Venus will feel relieved momentarily because of the presence of Mars. But on the other hand, Mars is relaying information to Sun, which I have explained in my previous Mercury transit video, which means that Venus is actually going to stand alone in this particular house, Gemini, while relaying the information. And when Sun joins this particular house, because Sun will make its move in the sign of Gemini around mid of June, that is when Venus will actually get a lot of strength from the king, because king also escapes, king also moves out from the clutches of Rahu, but it gets jammed between Mars and Rahu, which means that the negative forces are definitely surrounding you. The negativity, the negative ideology, the negative mindset will be always around you, in the form of people, in the form of confrontation, in the form of words, in the form of debate, in the form of relations, in the form of career. So some negative feeling or general feeling, I'm not saying negative will happen to you, it's a generic feeling that will be around you. Now this is definitely going to impact if your moon sign is Gemini Cancer or Taurus, maximum. If your ascendant is Gemini, if your Venus is in Gemini, or if any planet is in Mrigashira Nakshatra, or if you have any prominent planet in the sign of Gemini. If you are right now working or dealing with the part of life that is ruled by Gemini, for example, in your horoscope, Gemini is your fifth house, and you are concerned about your children. So, when you're concerned about your children, and in your horoscope, Gemini rules your fifth house, it means that you are more concerned about that part of life. To all those people, this transit will have maximum impact. For others, it will have an impact, but through a different route, not that negative. But this small sector of people will face somewhat, you can say, confining impact. It is an impact where it confines. But yes, Venus is quite comfortable. Why? First of all, Venus is second from the sign of Taurus, Bhavat Bhavam. When a planet goes Bhavat Bhavam from its own sign, it enhances the power of its own sign. That is something very good. And Venus is ninth from the sign of Libra, which is brilliant because this is trine lord going into its trine. This is a big Raj Yoga. So I will not say that this is absolutely negative, but the surroundings of Venus is negative. So Venus, its move is not negative. It's very positive. But what happens in the surrounding doesn't allow Venus to expand its arm. So whenever you would want to be creative, you will see that there is things that are getting suppressed. For example, if you in career, if you want to be creative, then you will be asked to not do that. If you want to open up maybe write a book, you won't get time. So it's more about finding time for your creative expression. One positive way of handling this transit is to learn a new language, to paint, to give more boost to your creative side. Start learning a musical instrument, start painting, drawing, do something creative, anything, or support a person who is a creative person. That will be a remedy for a bad Venus. For example, if your Venus is with Rahu, Ketu, Saturn, or Venus is debilitated, this becomes a very good remedy for you. The seventh house of Venus will also see the Pap Kartari of Saturn and Ketu. Obviously, Gemini is going to be under Pap Kartari for a very long time. But because Venus is kind of seeing the energy shift towards Scorpio, which means that while Venus wants to escape, nothing will allow Venus to escape, and especially in terms of marriage and relationships. So the generic push of energy will be towards the sign of Scorpio and towards sixth from Venus. So what does Scorpio and sixth from Venus means? It means addressing the secrets of relationship, the hidden parts of relationship, something that you have not discussed for long, that will be now communicated. What you should do is, amidst all sorts of negativity, anger, frustration, you should hold your ground and still be more creative. You need to be more fluid in this particular time frame, and wait for Venus to enter Punarvasu Nakshatra, because when Venus enters Punarvasu Nakshatra, that is when the reinstatement of love happens. That is when everything becomes fine, which is the second half of the transit. For a very brief period of time, Venus will move into Adra Nakshatra. Do subscribe my shorts channel, because my Venus transit to Adra Nakshatra, which is a very small transit, I will upload in my shorts channel. All very short transits which cannot be covered in this channel will be covered in the shorts channel, which is a set of videos less than 5 to or 3 minutes long. Venus transit in Adra Nakshatra will be somewhat life-changing for Venus, and because Adra is a nakshatra of chaos, a nakshatra of transformation, nakshatra of change, so definitely relations, your association will change. For the basic perspective, from the perspective of business, I will say that this is a time where you address the fault lines, where you address the pain points of your business, because and take creative way out of it. So promotion, advertisement should be given more importance, but in a positive way. Always see what message are you trying to convey, because if your message is positive, things will be positive. And from the perspective of health, you need to slightly take care of your diabetes, or if you have a bad Venus and Venus related symptoms, those things might slightly take a hit for certain people only. Otherwise, it will be a general well-being issue. With Venus, you just provide a comfortable environment to yourself, whatever way you can, and that should do. Yoga and pranayam works best with Venus because it manages the hormones and enzymes in the body. From the perspective of finance, actually it is good, but because the second lord is Bhavat Bhavam, but only thinking that Rahu being in the sign of Taurus and eclipse being formed in this sign, you need to wait. You should wait for at least 15-20 days. See, the time that we are in right now is actually time that we should be careful. It will attract us, it will lure us to invest. What will happen next after Jupiter goes retrograde is there can be a sudden hit. So it's best to be careful. It doesn't mean that you should not invest completely, but you should be careful and you should know what you're doing. Because second from Venus, which is called resource from Venus. See, if Venus is luxury, but to buy luxury, you need to have money in your bank account. So for that, when Mars goes into this house, you will become very much insecure about the finances. You will become very much insecure about how can you express yourself in a luxurious way. You will start getting concerned about money, about power, about position, about your clothes, about everything. So that is the part where you have to be slightly careful and not lose the track, because it's a transit, it's not your own horoscope. If it connects with your Mahadasha and Antardasha, then for only those kind of people you have to be slightly careful. For others, it will be a generic mindset, and you have to be you have to maintain that Shakti or the feminine energy is very fluid in nature, and Shakti is responsible for the creation of this cosmos. So you should also pray to Shakti, and that will give you the strength, because Mars is going down. This is one angle to that. On the other angle, the 7th from Venus is also under Papkartari, which shows that from the business and the money perspective, your money will be invested into solving few factors, such as any kind of financial drawbacks, legal issues. Also, when Venus see the 7th energy shifting towards the sign of Scorpio, and Ketu is in that sign, and Ketu will be in Anuradha Nakshatra, this combination says that few people will leave your firm. You will see a sudden attrition. That is going to hurt you. So you should be prepared for that. It's not a big event, but you should be prepared for that. And from the perspective of money, business, health, things are going to be overall okay if you can manage the energies around you. If you get affected by the energy, Venus is not the planet that fights back. Remember that. Venus doesn't have the energy to fight back, because Venus is a very fluid and a very soft planet. It's responsible for your material gains. But how will you fight back if you don't have the weapon? Venus hits you where it matters the most without even shouting. So you should pray to Devi, Mahalakshmi, and do a lot of Lakshmi Puja. Vishnu Lakshmi Puja is going to help you a lot in this time frame. Take it very positively. I'm just saying that Venus has a negative aura around it, so it can affect Venus. But if that Venus is shielded, things won't be negative for you. So overall, Jupiterian aspect, which is falling on the Venus, is also going to help Venus a lot. This is going to be a life-changing one. Venus getting aspect from Jupiter, and also the house of Venus, Libra, getting aspect from Jupiter. So presence of a guru will be magical. Presence of a divine force will be magical. So praying, going to temples, praying to listening to your guru, listening to advices of a learned person will actually help you make the best use of this transit. And I hope you will do that. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching Punneit's Astrology. We'll meet in the next video. Till then, this is your host Punneit. Namaste.